Okay, this is my thoughts regarding the fight between Kevin Mitchell and Daniel Estrada. Everyone knows Estrada. His fight against Omar Figueroa was a good fight. Two guys brawling, to be honest. And I'm not a big fan of Omar Figueroa. I think he's a good fighter. I think he's a bit overrated. And the reason why I say this is when he fights up close, he seems to smother a lot of his work. And he seems more of a brawler than a boxer, and when a guy wants to brawl more than box, my feeling is that his skills are limited, and I think that a guy that can counter punch will make Figueroa look pretty ordinary. That, that's another day. But this fight with Daniel Estrada against Kevin Mitchell, I actually think this is going to be a good fight for Mitchell. I think it's a fight that Mitchell can win. But I really wasn't too bothered about this fight with Mitchell. I'm just being honest here because I like Mitchell. He's from the East End of London. But his fight against John Murray is the fight that really I said, you know what, this guy Mitchell can go all the way after he beat John Murray. And that was when John Murray was unbeaten and Murray looked like he was going places as well. And after that fight, he fought Michael Katsidis. And it all went wrong against Michael Katsidis, and Mitchell just did not look at the races against a guy who seemed far more physically stronger than him, more powerful than him. And it seemed that Mitchell's mentality at a world level, he wasn't ready. And then again, he had a good fight against Breeze Prescott, which he looked very good against Breeze Prescott. And then he fought Ricky Burns, who I expected, and I told a lot of people that Ricky Burns would knock Mitchell out, which he did. And then Mitchell's come back and fought a guy called Maduna, and I thought he was behind in that fight, and he pulled out a beautiful left hook in the 11th to win the fight. I still have question marks about Mitchell at world level, not at contender level, at world level, at the elite fighters. I think his chin is still questionable. I think also when it comes to Mitchell, his mentality in the big fights. Now, the Maduma fight, I think, could have been a turning point in his career. But I always get the impression of Mitchell that he's not as dedicated as he should be. He doesn't fancy the really big fights. And come the fight night, he seems to fall apart in the big fights. That's what I feel. This Estrada fight, I believe, is not one of the big fights. I think it's a big fight in his career, I agree, but it's not. Estrada doesn't come across with a menacing record. He's been stopped, he's been beaten a few times, and I feel that this fight is going to be a good fight for Kevin Mitchell. I think it's a fight he can win. I actually think it's a fight he can win quite well because Estrada can be counter-punched, I think, and I believe that he'll walk onto punches, and I think that will suit Mitchell down to the ground. I actually think a fight against Figueroa would be a good fight as well. But again, it's just that big fight mentality. Has he got the big fight mentality? I don't mean domestic mentality where you're talking John Murray. I'm talking about world class, world elite fighters. Is Daniel Estrada world class? I don't know. I'm not so sure. He may be a gatekeeper. I'm not sure. And I always get the impression with Mitchell that he's a bit long in the tooth. He's missed his opportunity. And I also feel that Mitchell was being hyped up too soon. I think that his career, and he was given credit for doing things that, he was put on a pedestal far before his time. And I think that may have hurt his career. And I don't think he handled it very well. We all know about Mitchell's personal, well-documented personal life. And I just wonder how much he's got left as a fighter and how dedicated he is for this fight. Yes, he might get past Estrada, and I think he should get past Estrada because I think he's got a better boxing skill and boxing ability. But it's big fight mentality. That's the problem with Mitchell. And how much has he got left as a fighter? I don't know. He's 30, but when I look at Mitchell, he looks close to 40. I'm just being honest here. I wish him all the best in this fight tonight. I think Mitchell's got the skills to win the fight. But it's now or never for Kevin Mitchell's career, to be honest. And I think he stands a good chance against Figueroa. I think Figueroa will bring the fight to Mitchell, and I think there'll be openings for Mitchell to counter. I think he punches quite good. He's got the power there. Again, I do have question marks against Mitchell's chin, and I always have felt question marks about Mitchell when he fights against guys who are far more physically stronger than him. I feel Mitchell is a fighter that can be intimidated as well, regardless of what he says before fights. I saw that in the Burns fight, and I saw that in the Katsidas fight. Will Figueroa be the same for him? I don't know, but I expect Mitchell to win the fight. But if Estrada does pull it off tonight, then it will be a career that's been wasted, because I really think that Mitchell had tools to go far in the sport. But I think mental capacity at the highest level is what really wins you big fights, apart from having skills. Some guys can have all the best skills in the world, but they leave their best fight plan and strategy until behind in the dressing room. And I just wonder if that's going to be undoing of Kevin Mitchell's career. Let me know what you guys think. I'm out.